I'm the CEO of RJ Reliance. In this series, I'm talking with business owners, operators, HCM leaders, employees, partners, and industry experts about how work is changing. We'll look at people, systems, payroll, HR, time, integrations, operations, and yes, AI, but always from a practical business perspective. The goal is simple: understand what companies should be thinking about as they modernize how work gets done. So today I'm talking with someone who helps HCM, payroll, time, HR, and workforce technology projects move from idea to reality. We talk about what makes these projects succeed, where they get hard, and what business leaders should understand before modernizing systems or adding artificial intelligence and automation. So on the Teams meeting here today is Tee Olaleye. So Tee, thanks for joining me. Can you introduce yourself and share the kind of HCM projects you usually support?
Thank you, Robert, for having me today. My name is Tee. Been in the business of project management, especially HCM, payrolls, and human resource management, and all of that beautiful things that we do backstage, managing people's payrolls and people's pay processes and all of those. I've been doing that for about 8 years now, and I'm a current employee with RJ Reliance.
Okay.
What I do basically, I work with different HCM systems and try to understand them, get into them, and see how we can either automate them, get them better, maximize their efficiencies, and properly utilize them, and even integrate them with other HCM systems for easier processes and to make human resource employees make their work a little bit easier and faster, especially in this AI region and AI era that we are in.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about when a company starts an HCM or payroll project, what are they usually hoping to fix? So what are the challenges that you're seeing amongst the projects that you're doing and the clients you're serving? Like, what are they trying to fix in particular?
Usually when companies start projects like this, they're usually looking to automate their processes. They've spent so much hours and so much time and so much energy and human resource or human energy, manually imputing time, imputing people, and imputing procedures into their systems. And they want efficiency. They want to automate. They want things to move faster. They want to reduce human energy and let computers do what computers are trained to do. And that is where we come into that, to the process, mostly to automate most procedures. Sometimes, however, I've come across situations where organizations have HRM systems, they have tools in their hands that they use, but they are archaic. They want to optimize those systems. They want to improve those systems. They want efficiency. They want something that is faster and that can do the job quicker, which either lower cost, which is also a thing now. People want to spend lesser to get optimization. Now, that is what that's another thing that we do now. We make sure that most of those companies, when they come across us to say, hey, I want optimization at a lower cost.
Yeah. You would think in the 21st century, there'd be less manual processes, but to your point, companies are still dealing with a lot of manual processes that they need to get sifted and sorted so that they can grow and scale more effectively and easily as a business. And that's definitely something I see as well. So tell me, as a project manager, what do you see that other executives or end users may not always see in terms of, I think where I'm going with this is just generally that a lot of people just know that HR and payroll works, but they don't necessarily understand that there's complexities underneath. So tell me a little bit about what you see there.
As a PM in this field, with my level of expertise, I've seen a whole lot go on behind the scene. And most of those things, especially working with different clients, includes a little bit of under expectation or over expectation. Usually people are not, they're not always, because they really don't know how the system works. So they don't know what to expect. That is the main challenge. Because I'm introducing you to a new system that can make your system better. But because you're used to this older system that you've been using for the past 20, 30 years. Now, you do not know what to expect from this new system. You really don't know how the system is going to work and what's the expectation. And at the end of the day, usually at the end of the project, we get feedback that says, can I do something else? Can this system do this? Or can I add, say I got some of my employees that were terminated, but they can be rehired after 2 years. I start, because usually after 2 years, they put their cards. Some companies literally have cards that they wrote the right names of employees. Okay, you're terminated, 2 year mark, and 1 year, you can come back after 2 years. Now it's automated. They're confused. Oh, I didn't say this during the interview or during the discovery. Now I need this done now.
Yeah.
Things like that. So it's a whole lot of complexities during projects like this, but we get them going. We take our time to really explain to clients step by steps and to really bring the technology to them in a language that they would understand.
Yeah, no, excellent points. And so that leads me to my next area, which is talking about common success factors. I know there's never a perfect project that you can have, but what would typically makes your HCM projects run more smoothly? Like in your experience, what have been kind of the projects that have done the best, and what were the reasons for it running smoothly?
For most HCM projects, honestly, I wouldn't say there's any smooth projects, but there are good and better projects that you can handle.
Mm-hmm.
So for most of those really, really good projects, especially you realize that there's a more defined scope. Exactly, what do you want? What can I do for you? And then the two teams agree on a defined end that meets a business goal, because our projects are typically useless if they don't meet a business goal. So since we aim at meeting a business goal, it has to meet that goal at the end of the day. Now, what makes those processes easier and smooth is the fact that you're able to tell me what you want from the client's perspective. I'm able to tell you what it is affordable, what it is feasible, what is common practices as an expert in this field. And then we can come to a middle ground to get this work started. And then I define your role to you as a client, and I introduce my role to you, whereby your job in this project, because mostly clients believe that usually when the work is in your hands, they don't have to do anything. You just have to fold it, and you come back after 2, 3, 4 months and say, hey, I'm done. Usually that is not the case. So what makes this project run smoothly is the input from all the stakeholders. Everybody involved in the project. You do your part, I do my part. And at the end of the day, feedback mechanism. So most of those little things that project like this are not just technology alone. In fact, I would say the technical part of this project, they're like 20% out of the 80% of the success percentage. What makes project like this successful is the stakeholders communication and stakeholders involvement. Because a 2-minute call can really, really solve a 2-month hold.
Yeah, right.
That's the way it goes. So most of my successful projects, it's always been on stakeholders' involvement, the level of engagement, especially if they're really, really ready to get this done as soon as possible. Stakeholders have to be heavily involved, both on the client side, on the PM side, the development side, everywhere. Everybody have to be heavily invested.
Yeah, no, excellent. You touched on a few really great points. Obviously, having clear expectations or goals defined, right? Having clear ownership, having good communication. Where does the timelines come into play? And I guess that might fall underneath the umbrella of goals, but where timelines slip, I mean, what are the root causes of that in your experience?
So usually I would start because before I look outward, I look inward, mostly from the sales team. that wants a client to come in real quick, and then they promise unrealistic expectations. I've had experience with a client in the past that wants something done. I think it was December 2 or December, uh, first week of December. And she wants this thing done by December 5th
Yeah.
because a salesperson told her, don't worry, it is possible. And this process is something that can take weeks to accomplish. Now,
Yeah.
that alone is a marketing error. Took me a lot of effort to convince this client and say, hey, this is impossible. But it is not even attainable anywhere. Now, another thing that makes a timeline amazing projects, it's basically unresponsive clients.
Mhm.
Sometimes you need something, it's not there. And you message somebody, hey, can I get access to these places? And it takes hours, it takes months for them to even give you, you want me to clean your room? You've got to give me the door to do my job.
Yeah.
If I cannot get into your room to clean it, you don't expect to come back from work and meet a clean room.
Yeah.
And then if it takes that much time, then I'm going to take that much time also to do my job. So most of the things I've seen that really cause delay, it's not from the development team or the project management team per se. It's always from the client's angle, either from aspect of undefined expectation from the client because they don't know what systems they are working into in the first place, which is understandable. But the most common one is access related, giving credentials for developers to get to work. That's one of the things that makes timeline lapses, especially missed timelines and all of that during project management.
Yeah, I would agree. There's definitely people underestimate the simple stuff, right? Which is, as you mentioned, even gaining access to the various different systems so that your teams can complete the tasks that they need to, whether it's integrations or configuration or anything along those lines. If you can't get access to the system, there's not much you can do to ensure that you're meeting the timelines, goals, and objectives of that project. So I know that's a big thing that you all work on in terms of right up front, really working with the clients to say, all right, here's the things that we need to be able to do to achieve success for this, and really try to drive that message home. Here's another thought. And so what happens when a company does not have the right people involved early enough? So it's a matter of ownership, but I know just generally with projects, if you don't have the right people engaged on the client side in particular, then that can lead to struggles. Any thoughts there?
So usually when I would go back to the salesperson also, where something happened recently where a client told me straight up in the face and said, you did not tell me I would need to pay this vendor to take care of this business.
Mm.
And they pulled out the exact sales contract that they had. And they said, it is not in my contract. It's my contract that your company is going to do this, this, and this. And I said, well, that is true. Maybe the salesperson has assumed that you already understand that you're working with this HRM systems, you're going to need them to do this for you unless you have a technically proficient person on your team that is already working on that
Right.
tool. But if not, it's usually advisable to have a vendor that can do that on their side. So it is always, I would not just say it's existing, I would say it's undefined expectation from the client. And because also they think they are spending, they think they're saving money and they don't want to pay third-party vendors. They don't want to do that just to make the integration process smooth.
Mm.
And that is a whole lot. It has caused delay, almost more delay than it has caused almost much more delays than any other thing I can think about.
Okay.
That aspect where client think I want to save money, I don't need to pay extra vendor, I don't need any vendor on this project. It is just you figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, right. That's a huge challenge, of course. So kind of moving into now, a lot of what the listeners will be very much interested in is AI. So AI and artificial intelligence and kind of the automation layer. So as AI and automation become more common, how do you think that changes your HCM projects or just HCM projects as a whole?
From the PM tools or from the client perspective?
Well, both. Frankly, the perspective in being more efficient in implementing these solutions if you have the right kind of PM tools in place, and then also kind of what is the client's perspective in terms of the capabilities of the solutions that are being put in place.
So usually I believe that, like I was discussing one of the developers recently, I said one of the things that will make us stand out in our implementation processes and integration processes is a little ice on the cake. Put some cherry on there. Add some AI fit into their systems, where most of the things they do, they're not just automated, but they are proactively suggested also. For example, payroll is due on Wednesday. You don't need human effort to do that. Payroll is due on Wednesday. Payroll is due on Friday. On Wednesday, the system calculates times and money and throw it at you for validation. So all you have to do is validate if you want to validate that. If not, we program the system to work efficiently, 100% already. So it's not about just calculating punches only. I'm looking for punch. It's about just adding little things in the implementation that can really, really surprise the client when they go on running it. Like, oh, this system can do this as well.
Yeah, right.
And then they get it like, oh, okay. And that client will go work for another company and say, my other company will do this because the system can work this way. I've seen it before. They'll be like, nope, it doesn't work that way. I swear I've seen it before. And that is how we get expanded. On the project management tool, I believe that as a company, we've handled so many integration projects of all kinds and all shapes with different HCM platforms and tools. And where I believe AI can really, really work, it's where we can document processes accurately. Processes accurately, where from point A to point B, if you're handling, let's say, from Sage to ADP, WFN, or QuickBooks, for example, or migrating historical data from one platform to the other one, you don't have to sweat it. There's a template based on the people that have done it in the past. This is what I'm working on. The AI tool will tell you, okay, this is what you're working on, T. This is how we can get there from here to here. It gives you efficiency and not just optimize efficiency in your expectations from the client. You know upfront the requirement on that project. For example, I was working on a project that requires a third-party agent to access another system, because the HCM tool will not just let another person access the system. But it wasn't clear to me on the first instant that I needed to dig into that, because I thought it was just a normal process that I was used to. Now I reach out to them, can you give me access to this? And they said, no, we don't know you. We don't know your system. You have to go through the system for you to come to us. And I was like, are you serious about that? Now that is where I'm coming from. With that kind of implementation into our systems, all I need to do is, hey, T, you're working on this system to this system based on the record I'm seeing here. You will need this, this, and this. However, this system will not let you go. You have to go through this. And during kickoff, it's going to help clients' expectation a lot. To say, well, I told you, you're going to need to pay for this extra. And it's also going to help the sales team for their sales agreements and their, what's it called, recommendations on the scope of work. They say, well, if you want to do this and this is exactly what you would need based on historical facts that we have done.
Yeah. No, excellent. Well, listen, really appreciate your insights today. Looking forward to having more conversations with you over the coming weeks and months. As we all know, AI is there's a lot that's changing on a very rapid basis. But definitely thanks for your insights. I think a lot of the listeners will really enjoy hearing your perspective and kind of what you're seeing on your projects. So appreciate it, and we'll definitely set up some time to talk more. All right.
Thank you, Rob. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.